Hi, this is Darrell Wilson for Sunday School University. The lesson for Sunday, November 23rd, turns to the final lesson in the series, Overcome, Living Beyond Your Circumstances, looking at the life of Joseph. Our lesson is entitled Overcome an Earthly Mindset, and our focal passage is Genesis chapter 50, verses 15 to 21. Teacher, what can you do to capture the interest of your class with this lesson? It's important to address that early on in your session. What if you ask these questions? What can you do to live without regrets? Or what if you ask, what would an earthly mindset look like? Or on the board or a tear sheet, draw a line down the middle and write earthly on the left and heavenly on the right, and lead the class to brainstorm attitudes and actions that express earthly and heavenly mindsets. During this series, we have seen that Joseph grew up in a dysfunctional or imperfect family. He encountered family circumstances that were challenging, such as jealousy, hatred, betrayal. And in addition to those family circumstances, some life circumstances that included temptation, hard times, and certainly plenty of reasons for bitterness. But in each case, Joseph served God faithfully. God expects us to live beyond our circumstances. Jacob, renamed Israel, and his sons gathered their families, possessions, and livestock and moved to Egypt, where Pharaoh allowed them to settle into Goshen. And after living there 17 years, according to chapter 47, verse 28, he called his son Joseph and made him swear that he would bury him in the family tomb in Canaan. Then before he died, he gathered his sons and blessed them and their families, and then Israel died. Joseph had the Egyptians to embalm Israel, and they mourned for him for 70 days. Then Joseph asked Pharaoh's permission to bury his father according to the oath he swore to him, and Pharaoh granted permission, and all of Pharaoh's officials and dignitaries went to Canaan with Joseph and the family, and they observed a 7-day period of mourning. And then after the burial, everyone returned to Egypt. They returned to Egypt, listen to this, even though the famine that had been predicted to end had ended 12 years earlier. As we turn to examine this week's focal passage, let me again challenge you not to do all the study yourself, teacher. Teach your class members to learn to feed themselves. Lead them to open God's Word. Lead them to meet God in Bible study for themselves. Help it to be a first-hand relationship encounter. Well, in our passage in chapter 50, verse 15, we read, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said to one another, if Joseph is holding a grudge against us, he will certainly repay us for all the suffering we caused him. Well, if is a huge 2-letter word. There's a lot of assumptions behind it. They're making some assumptions at this point. They are, as a result of some of those assumptions, coming to some conclusions. They're becoming afraid. They recognize their sin, as well they should. They recognize the fact that it was worthy of punishment, as well they should. But despite Joseph's communication of forgiveness, they've done so. So they've really not